Arrogant classmates invited the loser of their old class to a reunion after 5 years, only to mock him. Marcus Green, once the quiet, shy black kid they called weird, walked in wearing worn-out sneakers and a faded hoodie. The room burst into laughter. Brooks smirked, Chase bragged about fake business ventures, and Tyler even cracked jokes about Marcus on stage. Everyone thought the night's entertainment had arrived, but when Marcus calmly stepped forward, unbothered and composed, the laughter died instantly. The same nobody they used to ridicule was about to reveal a truth that would wipe every arrogant smile from their faces and leave them swallowing their pride. Before we continue, if this is your first time watching one of our stories, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button. Your support helps us share more powerful real-life stories like this one. Stay with us till the end, and if this story touches you, drop a comment and share it with someone who needs inspiration. Now let's begin. The invitation arrived in a plain white envelope tucked beneath a pile of unopened mail in Marcus Green's small apartment. The handwriting on the front looked familiar, though awkward, like someone had tried too hard to make it look formal. Class of 2018 reunion. You're invited. Marcus stared at it for a long moment, his thumb brushing the folded flap. The venue's name gleamed in bold letters: Rutherford Academy Banquet Hall. The same private school that had once made him feel like an outsider. He could still picture the bright hallways, the echo of sneakers on polished floors, and his younger self, quiet, shoulders hunched, clutching books like armor. The only black kid in a sea of white uniforms. His teachers called him brilliant, and his grades backed it up, but intelligence never silenced the whispers. Weird kid. Won't last a year in the real world. Too shy. He'll never make it. The words no longer hurt the way they once did, though the memory still carried a sting. Marcus set the envelope down on the chipped table beside him. He could have ignored it, could have let it gather dust like the rest of the junk mail. But a faint smile crept across his face, because he knew something they didn't. 5 years. That's all it had been since he'd walked out of that school without looking back. 5 years of late nights spent coding under the glow of his laptop. 5 years of failed ideas, rejection emails, and persistence. 5 years of being underestimated, until the world finally noticed. Today, Marcus Green wasn't just the quiet boy they once mocked. He was now the CEO of a fast-growing tech company worth more than they could ever imagine. But almost no one knew it. He had kept his success private, far from the noise and attention. He looked into the crooked mirror on his wall. His reflection was calm, though the hoodie was stretched and the sneakers scuffed. Nothing about him looked like success, and that was exactly how he wanted it. If they'd invited him just to laugh, then let them. Let them gather with their fake smiles and shallow pride. Marcus slipped the envelope into his jacket pocket and drew a steady breath. This wasn't just a reunion. It was a quiet reckoning. And when the night was over, every fake laugh would fade into silence. When Marcus stepped into the Rutherford banquet hall, droplets of rain still clung to his hoodie. The air smelled faintly of lemon polish, the lights sharp and artificial. Gold balloons arched above a table covered with name tags. He found his, Marcus Green, written in looping ink. As he pinned it to his hoodie, the needle snagged on a loose thread. Heads turned. Not suddenly, but in a slow ripple, from the bar to the photo booth. A brief silence fell. Then the chatter returned. Thinner this time, laced with smirks. Marcus adjusted his sleeve, thumb brushing the envelope in his pocket, and stepped further inside. "Yo, that's him, right?" a voice whispered from behind a pillar. "Yeah," a second voice joined in, amused. "Same old hoodie look. Told you, he never changes." A short laugh followed. "I heard he's stacking shelves somewhere." Please," another replied. "My cousin says he's still living at his aunt's place." Wow, 5 years and nothing's changed. Marcus kept walking. The carpet softened his footsteps. On stage, a slideshow flickered through high School memories, lacrosse jerseys, crowns, a science fair ribbon he once refused to pose with. The host, Tyler Voss, adjusted his jaw, straightened his loud cufflinks, and tapped the mic. "Reunited. And richer," he announced. Laughter rippled across the room. Marcus chose a table near the back, half hidden in shadow, but with a clear view of the stage. He placed his glass of water down and quietly observed, the way coders study system logs, calm, patient, watching for signals. Whitman drifted by, champagne flute in hand, diamond earrings catching the LED light. "Marcus," she said with a polite smile that didn't reach her eyes, "what's up, stranger? You look vintage." She didn't wait for a reply. At the bar, a payment machine beeped with the unmistakable sound of a declined card. Chase cleared his throat, grabbed the card back, and tried another. The bartender turned the screen discreetly, professional enough not to announce the failure. Nearby, two men whispered to fill the silence. "Did you hear? Chase's app crashed again." "Yeah, investors hate public flops." Tyler leaned toward the mic once more. All right. Let's play a quick game. Then and now." Photos cycled on the screen. Lawyers, fitness coaches, startup founders. Then came Marcus's turn. The slide showed a blank gray box. Photo not provided. A few snickers broke out. "Guess some stories never upload," Tyler joked, pretending to sound disappointed. More laughter followed. Marcus took a sip of water. The glass left a faint ring on the table, which he slowly wiped away with his sleeve. The bass line from the speakers pulsed faintly through his chest. Conversations skimmed around him like static. Two girls wandered behind him, unaware their whispers carried clearly. "Who even invited him?" "Tyler did," the other replied. "He thought it'd be funny. Full circle pep talk." "Savage. Relax. It's just a joke." Brooke returned with a small group, Chase, Haley, and Roman. "So Marcus," Brooke said, chin slightly raised, "what's the hustle these days? Still doing computer stuff?" He nodded once. "Something like that." "Nice," Chase added, voice a bit too loud. "We're all building things. Startups. Exits coming soon, you know. Just timing." He tugged at his blazer cuff, trying to sound casual. "Market's weird. Rent's worse," Roman muttered before a glare silenced him. Across the room, a small photo printer whirred, spitting out glossy pictures. Above the stage, a banner read, "Class of 2018, presented by Summit Gatherings." Marcus's eyes lingered on it for a brief moment before moving on. No one noticed where he looked. No one ever did. Then came the awards, paper certificates edged in gold. Best Glow Up. Most International. Biggest Boss Energy. The jokes stacked up like a shaky Jenga tower, each one leaning closer to mean. Tyler's grin grew tighter every time the laughter didn't come quickly enough. At the end, he held up one last envelope like a magician revealing his final trick. "Honorable mention," he announced. "Most likely to still be. Different." He paused. "Marcus, you're here, right?" Heads turned. Someone gave a dry cough, the thin kind that slices through a quiet room. Marcus let the silence stretch. He could feel his heartbeat, steady and unhurried. He slid his chair back with a soft scrape, stood up, and gave a small nod. Something between a thank you. Brooke snapped one shrimp off the skewer without looking and dropped the tail into a half-empty glass. Chase was in the middle of a long rant about seed funding for Q4 when his phone buzzed. He grabbed it quickly, eyes lighting up for a moment before dimming again. "Just an investor follow-up," he muttered, placing the phone face down. The screen had actually flashed final notice. Around Marcus, the whispers drifted like smoke. "Did he Uber here?" "Nah, probably hitchhiked." "Yo, look at those shoes. They belong in a museum." Each laugh grazed his back like a cold draft. Marcus finished his water and set the empty glass down carefully. His hoodie sleeve absorbed the condensation ring, tracing the same slow, deliberate circle as before. Finally, he looked up and met Tyler's gaze across the room. Tyler still clung to the microphone, leaning too hard into his spotlight. All right, Tyler called out, his voice buzzing with forced enthusiasm. Time to give a quick shout-out to our sponsor tonight. Because none of this, he gestured toward the balloons, the catering table and the half-awake DJ, would be possible without their support. Marcus straightened his shoulders. One breath in, one out. Tyler shuffled through his cue cards. So let's hear it for Summit Gatherings who… Wait. He paused. The final card was blank. He frowned, then quickly forced a smile. Well, they've asked to remain anonymous. But hey, let's give them a round of applause anyway. Polite clapping followed. A few awkward whistles. Then Marcus stood. The sound of his chair sliding against the floor was louder than the music. Heads turned as he walked toward the stage. Steady, composed, unhurried. The room's chatter faded, replaced by a quiet ripple of curiosity. Tyler's confident smile faltered as Marcus walked up the steps. He didn't take the microphone right away. Instead, he adjusted the cuff of his sleeve, letting the silence stretch until even the clinking glasses went still. Then, in a calm, steady voice, he spoke. I just want to thank you all for coming, Marcus began. His gaze moved across the hall, not sharp, not angry, simply focused, the way a camera captures every detail. And I'd like to thank our sponsor, Summit Gatherings, which in this case is actually me. A flicker of confusion moved through the crowd. A few awkward laughs sputtered, then died. Someone near the bar muttered, Wait, what? Marcus pulled his phone from his pocket and tapped once. The projector behind him went black, the slideshow disappearing, then new images appeared. Headlines, articles, press photos. Green Technologies raises $40 million in Series B funding. The new face of AI infrastructure. And finally, a Forbes cover showing Marcus 5 years older, dressed sharply in a suit, yet unmistakably himself. Gasps rippled through the crowd. A girl whispered too loudly, That's him. Another stammered, No way, that's photoshopped. But the headlines kept rolling, fact after fact, impossible to deny. Marcus looked out over the faces that had once mocked him in school hallways. His voice softened, almost conversational. So when you ask what I do now, it's something like this. He slipped his phone back into his pocket. Behind him, the screen froze on a single line. Estimated net worth. $18 million. The silence that followed wasn't the pause before laughter, or the hush of cruelty. It was heavier, dense, the kind that tightens throats and makes palms sweat. Marcus let it linger, then smiled slightly, the kind of smile that says, The joke's over, and you missed it. For a long heartbeat, no one moved. It felt like the projector light had frozen the room, faces half-turned, glasses mid-air, laughter still hanging in memory. Tyler, still holding the mic, swallowed hard. His practiced grin broke, replaced by something tight and fragile. Well, his voice cracked, the sound of someone trying to find footing on thin ice. Across the room, Chase shifted uncomfortably, tugging at his blazer's sleeve. Brooke's champagne glass wobbled against the table, the bubbles fizzing too loudly in the quiet. Whispers darted like sparks through the room. Is that real? Check your phone, man. Google it. I told you, he was always different. A small group near the bar pulled out their phones. Screens lit up in blue, reflecting disbelief across their faces. Confirmation spread quickly. Every headline matched. The Forbes cover, the TechCrunch features, the investor reports. Marcus Green wasn't just successful, he was untouchable. Then came the shame. You could see it move through the crowd, the slow collapse of arrogance. The same mouths that once called him weird were now shut tight. The same eyes that rolled when he walked past couldn't meet his now. Marcus stood quietly at the center of it all. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. The silence worked for him now. Near the edge of the room, two classmates whispered, forgetting how easily sound carried. Why'd we laugh? Because we thought he'd never be anything. The second voice cracked. And now, he's everything we said he couldn't be. Tyler lowered the mic, his confidence gone. The once lively host now seemed small behind the podium. Marcus didn't even glance in Tyler's direction. He let the truth settle slowly like dust. Quiet, undeniable, impossible to sweep away. The boy they once mocked wasn't the joke anymore. He had become the standard they failed to meet. Marcus stepped closer to the edge of the stage, his shadow stretching across the floor. His voice remained steady and composed. No anger, no bitterness. "You see," he began, "what you called weird was vision. What you called failure was patience. And what you laughed at became the reason you're standing in a hall that I paid for." A few people shifted uneasily in their seats, the weight of shame pressing heavier than their suits. Brooke set her glass down quietly. Chase stared at the floor, lips parted but speechless. Tyler kept his eyes on his cue cards, as if the printed words could rewrite what had just happened. Marcus let the silence linger before giving a small nod. "The difference between us isn't luck," he said. "It's what we chose to believe, about ourselves and about each other." He stepped down from the stage, walking past the stunned faces toward the exit. No one stopped him. No one even tried. The laughter that once targeted him now existed only as an echo in their memories. Mockery had turned into a mirror. Marcus walked out into the cool night air, his head held high. For the first time, the label of loser was gone. Completely. He hadn't just won. He had reclaimed the very stage they once used to belittle him. Marcus left that hall with quiet confidence, proving every insult wrong, without ever raising his voice. So tell me, if you were in his place, ridiculed and underestimated, would you have revealed your success, or walked away in silence? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that challenge arrogance and celebrate quiet triumph.